Okay, hey everyone, so welcome to just a rambling video. I decided to do it with my weekly bosses in the background just because I don't have anything just to push out in terms of content at the moment. I do have something planned for the Corsair in terms of another equip video in terms of upgrading some new equips that I've made for it, so I'll do a video on that during the week just to showcase it. I just want to make a few more cubes before I do the proper video. And then I've also got a Golux video for the new Hell mode to do a clean solo of. I managed to do one of those, which I was pretty happy with. So I'm putting that out as well. So at the moment I'm training while doing this audio in post edit. I'm at 68.52% at level 271, so I'm close to being about 3 levels away from 275. I think I said this to the guys in call the other day. I think I'll start to feel a bit more positive about 275 when I'm at about 270 to 50%, because then I'll feel like I'm truly half the way there between 270 and 275. Obviously I'm more than halfway there in the grand EXP total, with being between 250 and 275, but yeah, I'll only feel like I'm really within touching distance when I'm about just like over that hill. So like at the moment I feel like I'm kind of just like going up it, nearly reaching the peak of it, and then I'll know that I'm on the downward slope when I'm over halfway there. In terms of the training, it really hasn't been too bad. It's different to how it was on the way to 250, obviously, just due to the I think I've talked about it before, where I've said, you know, like the size of the map, just the dynamics around all the characters which aren't required anymore. I remember I used to just go through it used to be the biggest pain when I was still living at my parents' place. The internet would just drop out from time to time, and it would kick all of my support characters off, because I was pretty much supporting myself on the way to 250. But nowadays, you know, I don't need a mule for a holy symbol. I don't need a Kishin mule. I don't need, you know, mob support or anything like that. So I can pretty much just be in this map. I can sit down and just decide to do an hour's worth of training at whichever point during the day, and know that all I have to do is just make sure that I've got a drop card for node stones and extra miso bags and spell traces and all that. EXP potions to make it as fast as possible, and then to try and line up any MVPs that I have access to, either public ones or private ones, and yeah, just sit down and do what I have to do. I've got a strange feeling that I feel like I'll miss doing this once I hit 275. I think I felt the same way when I hit 250, because I really felt like I didn't have anything left on the to-do list. I'm tackling it a different way because I've thought about it a bit more in terms of planning out, obviously, things that I do want to accomplish after 275, both on the Xenon and on the Corsair, and potentially other things. I haven't really set anything completely in stone, but yeah, so one of the videos that I'm going to be bringing out is just the new hat top and bottom that I've made for the Corsair, because I'm not moving the ones that are on the current Corsair just because they're attack and not stat. So I've essentially made all decks, top, bottom and hat RA. So I've gone for a PA hat and the normal pirate top bottom. The reason I went for the PA hat instead of just the normal pirate RA hat is I'm going to be combining it with arcane equips eventually, so I'd like to have the set effect from both rather than just limiting it to just the Root Abyss set. So yeah, it's a little bit more obscure, so if I'm star forcing it, obviously I'll need to keep a stash of PA hats rather than just the normal pirate ones, which you'd have access to all the time because you've got the tokens. So I've spent a little bit of time working on that. I didn't record scrolling it just because I just spell traced it. It wasn't anything too exciting. I didn't use primes just because I'm saving the prime scrolls for new equips I need to make for the Xenon. So I've essentially just got a plan written out where I've got everything that I need to do for the Xenon, everything that I need to do for the Corsair, and the Xenon is still taking preference in terms of the most important things. The all stat isn't really that beneficial for the Corsair anyway. It'll get some hand-me-down equips as I go through upgrading things for the Xenon, so I'll be benefiting both eventually. So yeah, I'm not doing anything to handicap the Xenon in any fashion. So one of the things I'm looking at the moment is buying a 22-starred Golux belt for the Xenon. By doing that, I free up the Tyrant Altair belt, which I think it's called, the Pirate belt for Tyrants, which means I can move a 12-star item onto the Corsair, it's a very good equip. I need to recube it for primarily Dex. I think it's a luck one at the moment, which isn't really that good of a combination, being that it's a pirate one, not a thief one. But yeah, so it'll be a good addition for the Corsair, and then the Xenon will benefit by getting a new equip as well. And yeah, please forgive the what's going on in the background at the moment. This is my first Lotus run in about 3 years. I didn't do it after I put out that video where I soloed it back in 2017, so this is my first real go at doing it again. And yeah, I was actually surprised at how quickly I managed to get through doing that. I haven't really been, I'll confess, I haven't really been doing Lotus. I still haven't killed Damien. It's something I need to get around to doing. And I have been doing some hard Lucid runs. I've never done a normal Lucid solo either, but it's all on the to-do list. I'm really going to leave all of that for after 275, because then I just feel, I'll have time to practice all that stuff, do Oz, all that. I think I said that last time, but I never got around to it. But again, I'm planning things a little bit better this time. So yeah, so the equips that I've made, nothing's going to draw away from the Xenon, so I'm happy with that. And that's the video that I plan on putting out, is doing some cubing on those new equips, getting them up to unique before the next Miracle Time, whenever that is. So yeah, so one of the other things that I've been trying to decide on, and I figured I'd pose the question to you guys as well, the name on the Corsair. So I originally, here's the backstory behind Low Fat, for those of you who are new to the channel and didn't really follow me back when I made that character. Around the time that I finished high school was when I made Low Fat. I was getting a mechanic to 200. I think I had made Low Fat already, but I hadn't really done anything serious with it. I got Low Fat to 200 after I got the mechanic, which was limitings to 200. I did it a lot faster than the mechanic. It was quite embarrassing how long it took me to get my first character to level 200. But I think you always remember your first anyway, so, it was all fun. So yeah, the idea behind Low Fat was, I think I'd spent ages training the mechanic to 200, or I'd just been training something, and like my mum was talking to me one day, and she just kind of remarked at how like me sitting on my ass all day was, really starting to show, and apparently I was getting fat. I didn't think I was fat. I was still exercising and stuff. I might have, gotten a little bit chubby, but, that's nothing really to be worried about. It wasn't anything drastic. So then I decided that's where I came up with I think I was either having breakfast or something like that. That's where I came up with the idea of Low Fat as a name, because I think I was putting low fat milk on my cereal or something like that. And the original IGN wasn't available, but then the IGN with 2 V's instead of a W was available. So then I grabbed onto that. Then I made high fat, saturated fat, the list goes on, until I made a Angelic Buster, which had the IGN erasers. So it's similar to the one that's on the Xenon, but it's actually spelt correctly. It's an S, not a Z. So what I'm planning on doing, or one of the options I have, is to, now that name changes are a thing, because back then name changes weren't really available. I think Nexon only recently brought them back. One of the things I've thought about doing is changing the IGN from low fat to erasers. So then I've essentially got 2 characters with the same name to keep the commonality between them together. So obviously they're both my characters. People will recognize the IGN, so on and so forth. So there's either that option, or I also have the IGN, which is one of the nicknames I tend to get. So my actual name is Lewis, so it's spelled Lewis. I either tend to get, the most one I get most commonly is Louis, that I get called by people, or Lou. And Lou is 3 letters, which isn't possible as a Maple IGN. But I did manage to get the IGN Lewie, so it's correct spelling and everything, and that's pretty much what I used to used as a nickname as well in terms of that perfect spelling there. You can spell it a few different ways, but that's just the way I like to spell it. So I do have that IGN available as well. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, I could use that as an IGN if I really wanted to. And yeah, so I've either got that. I'm kind of torn between going away from the low-fat IGN just because it's very... well, there's history to it. So in terms of like what people started to know me on, in terms of a character, was that character. I had made other characters before that, but that's when I really started to become popular in the server that I was in and on YouTube as a whole. People knew me from that IGN. But I feel like the Xenons one is probably more known nowadays than the Corsairs one, which is why I'd like to just bring things up to a current standard. So yeah, so I just wanted to get your opinion on it as well, because, you know, obviously there's people who've followed me for a long time, and, you know, whether they think it's a good idea or whether I should stick with it. I have looked it up. There is the original spelling with someone who is in my server, and it's on a like level 10 mule or something like that. But yeah, so that's really what the plans are, guys. Keep an eye out for the next video. I'll be putting out the Golex video and the cubing video for the Corsair stuff in the next week or so. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.